Are you thinking about taking an online class or course? Are you aware what that entails? If I told you most college students struggle with online courses or classes, would you believe me? Um, my opinion on online classes is they're not necessarily the best experiences. The type of work that I do, I run into college students all the time. Of course, with my own experience being in college. I'm also still having friends that are also still in college currently as well. Something that I hear amongst them all is they normally tend to not too much have the best experiences in their online related classes. Um, Even from my own experience, it wasn't something that I was really happy about. I didn't really necessarily have a choice of that particular course, so I had to take it online. But in my opinion, if you ever do get the choice to choose between taking a course or a class, online or in person, I would always almost every single time tell you to take it in person, because you're going to get a different experience. You're going to get a different learning experience as well. For those of you who have not ever taken an online course, depending on what type of course it is or class it is, one thing I can tell you is that just about all of them consist of weekly discussions or topics. um, in those weekly discussions or topics, what normally happens is you would normally have the teacher, the professor normally gives you a discussion to talk about. You will normally put your input in, meaning your opinion of the actual topic itself. And then something that you'll do is you'll actually go on that discussion as well, where there's like a post and things like that. But you'll also comment on somebody else's opinion and state why you either agree or why you disagree. Um, that's just something that they do weekly. Normally, what I know is that's something that they do in online classes weekly. I think is to kind of have the class show some type of engagement with each other. I think that's probably the main course of it. But it's also a part of it is to get, your juices flowing about that specific discussion, to see who's kind of engaged, who's not, and then kind of see what you know before that discussion is even taught or anything of that nature. Um, Also, for online classes, it's more DIY approach. For those of you who don't know what DIY means, it means do it yourself. So it's more do it yourself approach. For so those of you who you don't like working with other people, kind of like working by yourself, things like that. This would probably be something that will probably benefit you in some sense because it's mainly do it yourself approach. There are some times where you may meet up with some classmates from an online class, but a lot of times, honestly, you probably won't find that. It is possible, but again, at the same time, it doesn't always happen that way. A lot of it, again, when I say DIY approach, you're reading by yourself, you're studying by yourself, you're learning on your own. It's not like you know, uh, a situation where you're with other people. There are some online courses where you may have to join into like a Zoom room. I think that's somewhat more of the newer approach nowadays, with the Zoom rooms and things like that. But a lot of times you really, excuse me, you won't even necessarily find that a lot of times as well. Um, you really won't. It's more again, you reading a textbook, you going in studying it, and then kind of going from there. I know a lot of people, such as myself, I would consider myself as a visual learner. For a visual learner, online course is going to be a little bit challenging for you, because it's not like that in person approach. It's not like that hands on type of approach as well. And then it's not like you're actually can see, the picture that the professor is trying to paint towards you. Again, it's all normally through text, normally through messages, post. So it will be a little bit of a challenge for someone who's more of a visual learner. visual type of learner. Something else I would say as well is, and this is just something of my opinion, you don't really have, you have less access to your professor. Some professors in the beginning, when they send you, when the class first starts, they're going to send you your syllabus, let you know, hey, this is where my office is, my office hours, this is where I'm located, my office number. If you ever need me, reach out pretty much, or you can email me. Um, a lot of times when you don't have that bond or that chemistry with that professor, it may sometimes seem a little awkward just kind of going to their office. You probably never seen them. You probably don't even know what they look like. And a lot of people have, um, I would say a lot of people have things where if they're not comfortable with you, it's harder for them to kind of just come and just randomly talk to you and things like that. Some people may be shy. Some people may be not really too much of a people's person. It's different reasons why, but sometimes I find that if you have an in-person professor that you see on a weekly to daily basis, you start to feel a little bit more comfortable coming towards them whenever you're having an issue or a concern, or even when you may not understand something, you may need a little bit more description of it, or a more one-on-one type of level, type of thing. Um, there's less peer-to-peer interactions. Again, when you're in person inside of an actual in-person course or class, you have those peer-to-peer interactions. So that means, hey, if you don't understand something, the professor is busy, you can always reach out to a nearby peer of yours or a nearby classmate, who's able to also provide you information that you may have missed. They're there to maybe even, maybe study with you as well. You can do that. A lot of people do have study buddies with peers that they have in their classes. When you're on that online course, again, it is possible to have a peer-to-peer interaction and study with a peer from that course. But again, if we're going to be honest, it's not often that would normally happen unless you already knew the person before you guys took that course. But again, it's a bit of a challenge being able to meet up with a peer. So if you missed a day or you missed something or you don't understand something, it's hard to just reach out to a peer that you don't really know. The only thing that you may know is their first name, and that's probably about it. But you don't really know that person, so it's hard to get information that you may have missed or you don't really understand. Um, for me, when I took my online course, one of my online courses when I was in college, something that was hard for me was keeping up with it. Especially living on campus, taking an online course, it's easy to kind of forget about it in a sense and kind of putting it a little bit more on the back burner compared to your other courses. Because you're not really dealing with that on a daily basis. You're like, okay, well, I'll get to it, or oh, that's just that class. I'll get to that one last, or it's one of those types of feelings. And I'm not saying that everyone is that way, but a lot of people are. Um, and so it's just, in all reality, it's a lot of obstacles, I would say, that comes with taking an online class or a course. And again, depending on the subject of the actual class itself, it's going to be challenging kind of learning some of those things. So a lot of my people that take like technology related classes, learning something dealing with technology, right, on a online course or online class, it's going to be a bit challenging. It's going to be a bit challenging because a lot of that stuff, you don't just wake up one day and just say I know it, right? Some of that stuff you can't just read out of a book and just say, the knowledge is there. And so it can be a bit more challenging, even depending on what the subject of the course is. Again, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible when you set your mind to it. But there are ways of going about taking an easier route that will best help you as the type of learner that you are, right? Um, but again, let me know down below for some of you who have taken online courses, what's been your experience with it? Has it been that they've all been bad experiences? Have they all been good experiences? Has it been where one stood out to you more than the other, depending on what the subject is? Let me know what you guys' stories are. Let us know what your stories are when taking an online class, and would it be something that you will recommend to others, or would you recommend more the in-person approach? Or again, if you have some people who take in-person courses, would you recommend taking online courses, and telling us why? That's something that I'm actually interested in and want to know about as well. So comment down below, like, comment, subscribe to the video, you guys. Send this to a friend, send this to someone who's interested in going to college, or who's in college, who's thinking about taking an online class or contemplating it. Send this video to them. Share it. Share with your friends, share with your peers, share with everyone. Again, thank you all, and I'll catch you all in the next video.